Well, here we are again with another patch. Patch 1.7 got dropped on us Tuesday evening, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun, a lot of changes this time. Sadly, we did not get Skye in this patch. She got teased at the Worlds in Korea, and you know what? She's just not ready yet. They had a lot of other tweaks. They dived deep in the code this time to fix the Catherine stun bug, the shank issue with Saw. Lots of quality of life things here. That annoying bush minion bug that just like drove us all mad. Stuff like that's out of here now, moving forward. And so we can probably count on Skye in patch 1.8. But this is patch 1.7. There's a lot of little tweaks to heroes. We're going to have a new batch of crazy new laners that are super strong as everyone else kind of switches roles a little bit. But this week, or not even this week, today, this is your second episode. You guys get a bonus episode this week. I got Nivmett joining me to go through this patch notes. I love bringing people in that know the patch really well, know the heroes, know all the numbers, and he's the perfect guy for it. So let's jump into the episode.
Shatter the Vain, a podcast about vainglory.
Welcome to episode number 40 of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and this is a podcast all about vainglory. So every week, or every time a patch comes out, really, I try to put out another episode where we run down the patch notes and give you some thoughts and opinions and just ideas on what's been changed so you're all prepared when you head out into the fold. And this week, I got Nivmett with me, joining me to run this down. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on here because you are now with Super Evil Megacorp, so you have the inside knowledge on the changes here on the patch.
To a certain extent, I'm not currently at the layers, so my knowledge is limited. I understand what is their train of mind on and the direction they want to take on it. So,
cool.
And I understand what the changes actually are, I suppose.
Sure. Okay.
But
yeah. First off, congratulations on that job. That's awesome that you were able to get that, and now part of this team that you've been a part of the community since day one. Really, it seems.
It's been a little while, yeah. I was not expecting it at all. In fact, it was just totally out of blue, and when they asked me, how could I say no? They want me to work with the community that I've already been with and love. So it's, as the phrase goes, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Sure, yeah. And your work's cut out for you on patch days, and do a giant stream with Shin, and now I'm grabbing you. You might end up you might get some sleep tonight. We'll see.
We'll see. The bed's right there. Eventually, I'll just roll over into it.
So yeah, you're not at the layer yet. Do you plan to move out there, or is that in the horizon?
Yeah, in the next few weeks, I actually intend to move up there. I am
awesome.
in South Cali, and the layer is in North Cali, so I intend
that's an easy. I guess it seems like an easy move for me, someone who's not in California, but it's still a giant state.
Yeah, it's a 7-hour drive.
Okay.
So it's doable. It's not it's not cross country unless you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I say we start from the top of this patch.
Vainglory News.
So yeah, let's start at the top with the basic performance changes and these notes on the basic attacks and how that's been changed and finally fixed in many cases. The basic attack fix. One, we've had this stun bug in Catherine that's kind of came back and kind of drove us all mad lately. That has finally been squashed, right?
So, before Catherine Stun saw Shank and Glaive knockback. Glaive knockback not as much, but you saw it like pop up again and again and again, and especially in the situation with Catherine, it really stopped her entrance into the competitive scene a lot of times.
Yeah.
You can't risk being in a VGL match or something like that, and a key stun that you throw out is doesn't work.
Yeah, definitely.
So they did a sort of like a duct tape situation before. It helped a bit. It definitely didn't occur as much as it used to,
Right.
but this patch, they just buckled down, and Nita went in, did the deep surgery that was needed. Like just actually going deep into the code, fixing it, and then going outwards from there. Like a lot of work required, and to do what they actually did.
Right. Yeah, it
On
seemed like
whole, like think about it, yeah, there wasn't a character this round, but you have two characters that are now usable.
yeah, we got Catherine and Saw. Yeah, it seemed like he said he fixed it, but yeah, like you said, the duct tape, and now knowing that they really went down and dived deep to fix that, that's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing that's gonna be nice is you're gonna continue to basic attack when you're lagging. So even if you have little pings, internet hiccups or stuff, you'll be able to keep attacking. That'll just seem like a quality of life thing.
Oh, it's immensely useful. Like when you think about it, like Cruel or Ringo or whichever, and like you've targeted the person, but you've hit that lag spike. It just happened to me today on stream. I hit a huge lag spike, and apparently through that time I was still auto attacking,
Oh,
and
nice.
I was like, oh well, he's at 7 stacks. Pop smite.
It was very useful on Cruel then.
That worked out okay.
Nice.
Um,
And then the
or
last,
Ringo, you'll stand there just auto attack, and it's doable.
yeah, the last line on here is that the stutter step animation canceling is now gonna.
Oh,
It
stutter
provides
stepping
this.
slash animation cancel still provides
Yeah. What?
same skill based advantages. So
Uh-huh.
before stutter stepping used to give a very slight increase in attack speed as well as to get the movement. They wanted to keep that as part of what Vainglory is.
Right.
Most I don't actually know another MOBA that actually gives attack speed for rewarding for good control over a character. Like usually you just get the movement speed and that's it.
Right.
But at this point, stutter stepping is actually something that people relate to Vainglory now. So they wanted to keep that aspect in like you're playing Vox, something like that. You're flicking sound waves off your belt and stuff like that.
Tap
It
tap
looks
tap tap tap.
stylish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, or like, you're canceling that that auto attack or the wind down. It looks good. I actually really love that part of the game. Like
Right.
It really looks skillful. And so they kept that in, and that I was so thankful for that because I love that part.
So why'd they even mention it in here then? Like if it didn't change, it's just it's the same if you do it or not do it, right? Is that what they're kind of saying here?
They just want to say like even though we went in and changed the conceptual basics, that it's still there.
Okay.
Like it's you're not losing that. One thing to take into effect is if you try and stutter too fast, you'll actually cancel your auto attack animation.
Right.
So stutter stepping though is a little bit more difficult. Like it's not as easily done. It is just as rewarding as it is before, if not more so.
Okay.
So
I think that's something I'm terrible at, or canceling my auto attacks. It's like, oh no, if I tap too soon, or just like I'm like awful at that. That's worst. It's like I know I could have killed them.
That's something I noticed. Actually, if you cancel too soon now, you have the entire wind up. You have to go through the entire process again.
Oh, okay.
If there's the wind up, the attack, and the wind down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how it normally goes is as you're winding up, you clip right after the attack. Well, now if you clip too soon, you will have to start all the way from the beginning instead of before. Some people just like by tapping relentlessly, essentially, just hit it cuts it almost straight to the attack again.
Okay.
If you notice with like Ringo, like when he when he's trying to stutter step, but it doesn't, fully pull out his gun, and then eventually
Right.
like it'll just fire.
Okay.
This one now you can't. You have to be more skillful when applying it.
You have to make sure that animation gets off a little bit and then cancel it. Okay. Uh, be interesting to play, especially on like crystal ringos. Like you're relying on that so much tapping and getting your twirling silver up. So it'd be interesting. I haven't got.
Actually, Crystal Ringo. I'm building. I'm gonna build a broken myth, Shatterglass Broken Myth Ringo, and just Hellfire Brew someone. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, we'll get into his change there on Hellfire Brew in a minute here. But then the next thing is the bush vision changes. So this was another huge just pain in the butt, like the Catherine bug, where the minion would just get in the bush and you're like, where'd it go? Did we kill it?
Specifically, the two minions over by the shop that walked
Yeah,
into the tri-bush, right? Yeah, that's
yeah, because those two have a crazy leash range.
people hiding there on accident and just killed me from that spot. And it was the most frustrating thing in the world. And we actually, just the other day, I was watching Shin, and he had an Adagio, like Adagio disappeared, and he thought Adagio had died. And Adagio was actually in that small pocket, ulting.
Ooh,
And
okay. So
well,
if you became good, you could like hide in there and like you said, get the alts
yeah,
off and stuff like that.
you you can see from inside there, and they can't see you. I mean,
It's tricky.
that's that's the most. That's like almost invulnerability status.
Right. So that's fixed now. So that'll be very nice.
It's
Uh,
gone.
the other thing in here is these extra little animation when you go into a bush. I think,
Oh, I love those. Scarf is my favorite. He does a
yeah,
little
Scarf is
waddling
good.
through. It's so adorable. Koshka has got like almost like a limber
Hmm.
uh gaint. I don't know what you want to call it. Like a lot of them are really really awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did everyone get one, or some people's are just really subtle and I didn't notice them? I think I was playing Arden. He didn't seem like he had one.
I don't know. I think it's most of them. I don't know if it's all of
Okay.
them. Um,
I feel like that's something they're
I
gonna
know.
improve on even down the line. Like everyone
Oh
loves the
yeah.
scarf one, and like, oh, okay, let's make somebody else's even better, or just keep it updating that. It's like a fun little thing for they add it.
Yeah. So something I've noticed that Super Evil likes to do is they'll introduce something to, like, for example, the card system, and they improve and improve and improve on it until it's perfect. And they use the feedback from the players and the community themselves to help on that. But so in a way, we ourselves shape that part of the, for example, the card system. They listen to everyone's input on it, and they're like,
Yeah,
oh, we want this, oh, we want that, or this is too much, it's just too little. Um, and and they turn around and, for example, glory box now costs less glory.
yeah, that's a nice thing.
You can, yeah, now craft cards that you using all the extra cards that you don't need now, which is also great. I mean, I had like 5 or 6 extra legendaries just sitting there, so I was
Uh-huh.
like, well, I'm gonna keep one of each so I can have the collect. I want the collection, and
Oh,
that's
okay,
it.
you got built the collection. Okay.
Actually an avid card game player, so it's I'm addicted to cards.
Okay. So they got you there. That's nice.
Oh, they hit me right here, right home.
Yeah, and, I think it was a couple episodes ago when they teased this or showed this off on the dev stream. Talked about the card crafting, but yeah, it's in the game now. I know everyone is taking advantage of it and posting like all their tier 3 skins they're getting now because they were able to like you said, get rid of those extra legendary cards. It seems like you don't get a lot, but it does add up, and then you're able to
Oh
pick
yeah.
up those like common or rare cards that you needed to grab.
Like every single one, like for example, rares are pretty common in the game, in terms of drop, while legendary is actually sort of hard to get, right?
Yeah,
So, but if you turn around and you dropped ice to get all these legendaries, and you have these extra legendaries, and you're like, well, I really don't need these, but I wanted this one skin from this box. I can take these 3 legendaries and turn it into any one legendary that I want, which
yeah,
is
that's kind of nice.
it's really nice. And the other idea is is like out and break down like a rare or an epic or something like that and get
Yeah.
any number of commons that they need, because I can't even tell you how many Ear of Minions I'm just like, I need like 8 more of you.
Yeah, Ear Minions, man, they haunt
Well,
me at night. I can't ever get enough Ear Minions. Like, oh my god, I need 16. I have like 3. This is BS.
I remember I was crafting, like I was trying to craft Koshka. I'm just like, Ear of Minions, just uh, like come on. And there wasn't even the 99 glory box at the time, so I'm just like trying to play games, trying to get a Ear of Minion to drop. Just like, come on.
I know. Yeah, they added that 99 glory box, and now it's gone for the time being. In this,
It's because at this point it's not really needed. You could just break down a rare or like an epic, and voila, you have all the commons that you want to build. Like,
yeah,
so it's not required anymore. And
right,
because it's missing now, that's also part of the reason for the drop in glory for the normal
for
glory
the
box.
right. Okay. Yeah, that is kind of a nice thing. I know I've held off onto my glory for a while because there's that Broken Myth, I think, article just about like use the glory you have to like clear out the box. Like that's the most efficient
Yes,
way to do it. So I've been just
the
like
best way
stacking
to
my
going.
glory.
It takes about 15k to clear out a box. So you usually just held them back until held until you can clear the whole box, because it would, like, let's say you went through the box and you didn't get the legendaries, or the key points, and you're just like, well, it's rotating in 1 or 2 days, and I can't get another like 3 or 4,000 glory in a day.
Right.
Uh, Bye legendaries. but But if you have the full amount, you can keep going till you get all the cards you want, and then either stop there or just clean out the box. So that
Mhm.
was a really nice aspect of it.
So that'd be nice. I
So,
probably will be spending some of this glory now on some more cards.
dude, go for it.
One
I'm
of
sorry,
the
go
other
ahead.
things that were added were this muting pings now. You're going to have the
Fine.
ability to shut down spammers. Did you
So,
run into this quite a bit? You probably play with.
I'm sure even in high level play, you still run into people who hold the Riddler as their role model and throw so many question marks at you that you begin wondering if they're actually playing the game. And
Right, yeah.
I'm now, if they want to spam, that's their way. They're going to vent because they can't rage at you with an in-game chat, because there isn't one. In my opinion, it's a good idea. Because they can't rage at you and they just want to spam at you. Now they can yell into nothing.
Yeah.
They can yell into the void.
It,
So
yes.
this is a very good addition.
And this only mutes them for one single game, right? Like it doesn't mute them forever. Like if you jump into it, if you got matched with them again, you're not going to see like they're already muted.
Yeah, but I mean, if it was really, if you're literally clicking the status window open and clicking one button.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like, if
And,
people are complaining about why isn't he still muted, come on, it's 2 buttons.
and
You can
yeah.
click.
And you might want to dodge that game then too if you're like that person I had to mute and they were just trouble. Like I
They're
might skip
toxic.
this one.
They AFK. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I personally, I don't AFK from games myself. But to be fair, I try not to go. I don't have a lot of time lately to play, but usually I like to go in with just friends. So
Yeah. So
I solo queue, I guess you can say.
yeah, so you're not muting the friends very often because those are all like positive pings, like the beers and the thumbs up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, cheers for everyone.
And then now, if you do those private games, you're going to be able to have more people watching you. These 4
Oh,
spectator slots. That's
I'm
a lot of
expecting
people.
mini games off this. I want mini games. Like,
Mini game?
it's really there originally. Like, okay, so it's originally there for really competitive play. Like,
Hmm.
for
For like
example,
Europe, so they have multiple languages.
BGL,
Yeah.
BGA, BGM, all the different regions. There's a lot of VG
Yeah.
tournaments coming up. So, it's so, like, you can have that. the two commentators in, and like maybe someone like or different language commentators in.
Yeah.
So it's maybe one in German, one in English, one in Italian, and one in Russian, right? Um, so that's what it's mainly for. It will. It's nice for streamers though, so who can because people want to spectate the game. You're like, yeah, sure, I have room. Here you go.
Yeah.
Um, and for the mini game thing, what I was mentioning is like I want to see like you have 4 slots now for spectator mode. I want to see someone come up with a brilliant mini game. Maybe like if you're all on TeamSpeak or something like that, you send you have 2 spectators on each side, and one spectator is trying to convince you to do the wrong thing, and the other one's trying to convince you to do the
Oh,
right thing, or something
truth or
along the line.
dare, or like a.
Yeah, like it's just like, oh, they're at the mine, they're right by the mine, they're right by the mine, you should go there. And there's like 3 mine scout traps just sitting there waiting, like in ambush.
Oh, that sounds
Like
pretty fun.
while the other one's
So,
like, no, don't go there. You know, that's totally a bad idea. And you're like, well, which one do I believe?
that's a good idea. You got to have a pretty big group of people too, but I'm
Yeah,
sure some people can organize that and make that happen. I think it was a textbook Scar who said on the last episode too. He thinks it's a test to see the server load like in a game. Like that's a lot of people in a game now. So just to see how that's going to work.
I don't know a lot about how the server part goes. I wish I had more experience in that. But yeah, like essentially, it is a higher stress load. You're putting an extra amount of people in, which maybe later on would lead to people are speculating. I'm not by no means I am not by no means condoning that there will be or will not be in the future. This is just my own personal
your own opinion. Yeah.
yeah. Um, higher speculation or a higher stress load for more people in a single game. Like, I don't know how many people to the game, or if there's going to be more people, or if it's even a new game, or whatever it is. But for right now, it's safe to just assume that the spectator slots are there for competitive play and streamers.
Yeah. Very cool. Good way for them to test this. And there's there's a handful of other just UI tweaks that are just nice things like cleaning up our score screen and things like that. Definitely read the patch notes for that. But I want to jump into some of the hero changes and thoughts on like who's going to be good and who's going to be bad.
The meat
here.
of it.
Yeah, I guess what we all want to know about. So the first thing in here is Vox. Vox has been, I think, a nightmare since he was been released.
He is a difficult champion to balance. He has pretty much everything. He's got utility with a silence. He's got high DPS. He's mobile. His shield was giving him durability. I mean, he literally did everything that any character, like you could put him almost into any position. Because why not? Like except for support maybe, but you know what I mean. Stress the character stress his strengths and take away from strengths that he shouldn't have had. So to be fair, his base HP was really low, so he's getting a boost to his HP. This will help against actually really high burst targets. Like if someone's just like bursting you down, like full to 0, that was usually the main way to deal with Vox. But this way now, it'll actually help a little bit more, but not by much. It's like if you had a full shield, it gave you like a 64 bubble shield or damage shield, so it's like a 30 life difference. It's at max rank. It's not a lot, but in addition to that, they didn't want his Sonic Zoom to be like this get out of free jail card. So
it was long before. Like it felt like he could just jump into turrets or jump out of turret range. He's like, come on, man, this BS.
It's the most frustrating thing, when you're playing a melee character like Cruel. You pop your A skill just to get into range of him, and he just goes Sonic Zoom backwards, and you're like, well, now he's really far away. Even if I hit him with my Shiver Steel, like I can't catch up to him in time before it falls off. But that
Right.
still falls off.
And as he dashed away, it also hit you a couple times, and you're
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
you took a
really?
hit to
Come
the
on."
face for good measure, right? It was
Yeah.
awful. You're just like,
So, yeah, that range is now decreased. Not a lot, but I don't think he's going to be able to clear as many of the walls that you used to be able to go through.
um, no, most of them he no longer can. In all honesty,
Okay.
they took down his range from 4.5 to 3.5. That at that point he only has, I think, like a really tiny handful of walls to cross, and even
Yeah.
then, most of them are not really useful for jumping.
Right. And now you're now only going to be hit by that sonic zoom double shot if you've been marked by the residents. So that'll be nice. You have to like kind of get in there now and mark them with residents and then be able to attack them rather than just pop them and then slow them and then auto attack.
Well, in addition to that, resonance now stays for duration, from what I understand. Unless is it? Is it? It's not mentioned here.
Oh, it was the range has been increased just by 0.5%.
That's the resonance bounce range. But
Oh, the
I
bounce
thought
range, yeah.
the actual debuff is a duration now, if I remember correctly. But I mean, that's not. I don't. I think they just forgot to mention that.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So
I I almost want to go in game and check real quick, but
so it's now timed rather than a flat.
yeah, from what I understand, last it is a timed. It lasts for a duration of about 5 seconds,
Okay.
and then it falls off. Before, when you applied resonance, as long as you were attacking that target, resonance would never fall off.
Oh,
Now
okay.
it's the idea behind this is to give him a spike of damage and what he does best, and then he sort of like decreases and then he'll spike up again. So, but if you play it
Mm.
right, you can keep resonance on for a really, really long time. You can pulse. It stays up for 5 seconds. Sonic Zoom with a has a 3 second cooldown at max rank. That's like nothing. You can essentially Sonic Zoom twice and have it still be 3 seconds and throw out the bolts.
Okay.
And after you do the second Sonic Zoom, you can be like, shoot out my weight for it. That also applies resonance. Now you have another 5 seconds. By that time, Pulse is back up again. Use
Okay.
Pulse again. So if you combo it correctly, and the idea is that in the hands of a high skill level player, that it will shine even more. And believe it or not, when you're using the dashing game, it feels much more comfortable now, in my opinion. It's not really like because I've had situations where I dash backwards and I dash too far and I'd have to run
Yeah.
back forward. Uh, Now, like, you can dash, like, it's more of a positioning, like, it feels like a dash, not um, a blink, as you may.
Right, a
Uh,
flash, that kind of thing. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
So all the talk about residents, we knew that Crystal Ringo was, or Crystal Fox was really good with residents because all that bounce damage and he was getting it. So you think we're gonna see a increase again in Crystal Vox and a decrease in Weapon
Um,
Vox?
so, yes and no.
Okay.
I cannot tell, like, at this point, both of them, in my opinion, are equally as viable. Um, Weapons Vox's DPS is actually higher now.
Okay.
While being able to Sonic Zoom 2 times in the span of one before, you have essentially twice as many bolts. The bolts still deal the same amount of damage. That's doubling the DPS that's coming out from his Sonic Zoom. So you have a
Okay.
higher amount of damage coming out from that. Also, he is still the best person to apply Bonesaw, which now needs a higher level of stacks. But you can dash more often, means more bolts, which means more Bonesaw stacks. So
Okay.
Weapon Box in no means is dead. Like, it
Okay.
is still highly viable. And in addition to that, it actually got a slight buff. The reasoning behind this, his base passive, the base damage on it has been increased by, I believe, like 10 at level 1.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
huge amount of damage at early levels. That's gonna aid with last hitting. At this point, it's more beneficial to start off with a Swift Shooter.
Okay. Nice. Good to
Uh,
know.
Two. He starts off his level 1 pulse actually starts off at 75% now. That's huge. It used to go up to like when it originally was produced, it went up to like I think like 80 or 90%, and then jumped to 125.
Okay.
Um, or yeah, 95%, then jump. But now it's starting off at 75%. You have much higher base damage coming out of just level one pulse, which means weapon is also getting a damage increase indirectly from that. Um, but yes, Crystal is definitely getting a buff because of this as well. Resonance is being able to sonic zoom twice will apply your resonance, and the resonance bolts will fly out, way more. You're gonna get more
Yeah.
damage. It's gonna so you definitely see love coming out for CP Vox. It's gonna buff his early game.
Okay.
They're covering his weaknesses. They've increased his single target DPS a little bit more. They've increased his early game damage more, and you have a lower cooldown on Sonic Zoom. So yeah,
Oh, nice. So it'd be nice to see I guess, people switching it up and going both ways rather than just like, this is the
but
only way. And I think that's what makes a lot of the heroes in Vainglory fun is like, I can build them either way I want.
either way, exactly right. Like for example, like you have Saw, who you may build weapon or crystal, or Taka. Taka now
Hmm.
especially can now weapon or crystal. Um, which is actually the next character. But
Yeah, so Taka, yeah, like I think a lot of people were saying Taka needed a little bit of a nerf, like a little too strong. I think especially in the lower tiers, a good Taka would
yeah,
just run through a game.
yeah. The issue is with Taka, he was dealing a absurdly high amount of crystal damage even when he was full weapon carry.
Hmm.
So at that point, you can't really protect. Let's say I'm playing Fox in that situation, or Ringo. I have about 1400 life. Xretsu had a 730 base, and Kaiten had like a 410 base.
Yeah.
Plus the bleed, you have like almost 1400 damage before shield is applied, just like coming out, and you're just like, well, there goes three-fourths of my life. And so, do I build armor for their weapon carry and the Taka that's there, or do I build shield? And you're like, essentially, it was becoming very hard against it.
Yeah.
You'd have to build shield just to block his skills when their team was all weapon. So you look like an idiot trying to build like a fountain or an Aegis or a fountain or something like that. You have this
Against
kinetic
the
shield.
weapon team, yeah.
Yeah. So this change is a nerf for the amount of burst he'll put out, but it's also a buff. His sustained damage is going up. Mortal
Okay.
wounds that he applied from it no longer lasts for 4 seconds, it lasts for three. But every single time you
Nice.
auto attack them when your passive is up, it will refresh it, which it also now has a zero point 0.7 or 70% crystal ratio on it.
Okay.
That's a good amount of damage on it.
Yeah.
Um,
So you reward it now again for building either that crystal, or we're starting to see or we do see a lot of like burst takas who aftershock tension bow, like split that damage.
yeah, you might see it a little bit less because that build is actually probably the one that gets hurt the most by this change.
Okay.
Um, because Aftershock only has 35 base crystal to it, you're not adding a lot of damage to his ultimate.
Okay.
So unless you turned around and built like a Shatter Glass or a Broken Myth or
Hmm.
something, to add some number to it, um, that build probably got hurt the most. At this point, I would actually think that it's going to spec more towards like a sustain crystal Taka, or that refreshes the debuff over and over again.
Okay.
Uh, like I mean, it does a good amount of damage at max rank. It does like 64 damage per second or something ridiculous like that.
Oh, geez.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, with a zero point 0.7 ratio. So if you have 100 crystal, that's 70 more damage that's being applied every single time you auto attack.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So.
So in short, it's got a lot of sustained damage. Takas won't be able to build DPS and then just drop their damage and disappear. If you want to put out damage, you gotta apply the damage.
Okay.
Uh,
That'd be nice. Okay. Then Scarf was up next. Someone that I think Super Evil has been scared to tweak, and we didn't want a 1.4 Scarf again.
Oh no, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I remember that very vividly. I'm pretty sure anyone who played during that time, I had never actually seen streamers before that time say ban a character.
Yeah,
And Scar, like I remember going into like Mavericks and like exception stream, and they're like, oh, by the way, Scarf is banned. Like
yeah,
even in this game, even in this fun game mode like ARAM or Ultimate Bravery, I've removed Scarf. No one's allowed to play him. If you do,
yeah.
I'm just gonna kick you from the party and move on.
Yeah, most of the guilds when we did private matches were like, yeah, you can play anyone but Scarf. Like it's not. We're playing private matches, so we don't have to run into Scarf. So don't play him here.
Exactly right. Like I mean, you go into rank. Yeah, I've got to run Scarf, but like if I can help it, I do not want to see that little thing.
Yeah.
But now Scarf is the approach that they've come in with him. They've removed damage from his ultimate. He's no longer that one trick pony that with this mess well or just get stunned out of it. He's now almost like a machine gun. Like his Spitfire goes down to a 3 second cooldown, and it's got a
Yeah.
140% crystal ratio on it. That's huge. So he's just flinging those out constantly. And now with the changes to Goop, damage is a little bit down, but the burn ratio is up. So it really sort of evens
Right.
out. But the big thing about it is they lower at when you overdrive it, it goes down to an 8 second cooldown, which is like really low. Like if you have a clockwork, you're able to throw like 3 pools out on the floor.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you generate a lot of zoning power.
Yeah, I think it was a dev stream last Friday. They mentioned like they wanted the reason to overdrive some of these other abilities that you might not overdrive. They wanted the benefit to be there. So I think this was one they were like really giving you that incentive to overdrive it.
Yeah, damage goes up a solid amount. Cooldown goes down to 8 seconds. I mean, it's definitely worth getting that. In fact, at this point, I max Spitfire first, and I max Scoop second. I don't take a level in my ultimate till I'm level 11, when I
Okay.
have. Like I hit my spike, my power spike faster than anyone else when it comes to leveling abilities. When you think about it, because I don't have
Okay.
to run my ultimate.
Because of that goop cooldown, you think we're gonna see more jungle scarfs again? Just being able to zone people in the jungle a little easier and get away and have that escape if needed.
It, it's definitely possible. His passive does allow for faster clear. I don't want to say yes or no. I do excuse me. I do think he will see a good amount of play in lane, especially with the new Saw buff. Saw is going to be very strong against most characters. Saw is actually a pretty hard counter in lane to Fox. He's
Okay.
got a range of 6.5 versus Fox's 4.5. So Fox can't put out that kind of damage that Saw does. If Saw becomes popular, this is your counter. This is your go-to boy, Scarf.
Scarf. Okay. Good to
Like,
know.
you saw builds those stacks. Well, I'm pretty sure he can't dodge fireballs now, or even walk out of the goop very
Yeah.
fast without popping his A skill, which means you're just getting a favorable trade at that point.
Uh huh. Yeah. We'll skip pedal and then talk about saw. I think the biggest change and just the kind of thing we all knew about was like if you stun saw when he's firing, like stun him so he can't attack so fast, doesn't have that spin up. That's no
So
longer the case anymore.
essentially, you stunned him and he was useless.
Yeah.
So he was widely considered one of the worst characters in the game for a while, because at that point everyone just knew, I'll just stun him and then I'm done. GG, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Kill.
so
Yeah. Just kill him and then we'll kill everyone else and we're good.
even if you stun, like, you saw him suppress the fire and you just stun him at that point, you could almost just ignore him for a while because he was just
Very
there.
true.
But now stunning him is still huge. You still want to saw just as much as you want to stun any other ranged carry.
Yeah. Stun is great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, he's gonna start putting out the damage and you're gonna want to stop it. So you need to burst him. You're not going to go toe to toe with him, which is what he's designed to do. You know, he's designed to go like be this immobile, go toe to toe with anyone and come out of idea.
Yeah.
But you know he can't rotate. He can't move very quickly. He can't dodge those skill shots. So at some points, you know, he's got major weaknesses and major strengths, which I really love in his character.
Yeah,
Like
and I
it,
think we may start seeing people run him a little more if they learn how to, get the team around him. And the people that were good at Saw, they were already good at Saw. This will just help them a little more.
I,
Nice.
I managed to 3v1 in higher level play today, and it was great. And I was
Oh,
just like,
nice.
I feel amazing. Like a dodge just started ulting. I'm just like, well, I've got a reflex block, I guess. But even if they stun me or they get it off, but I'm not gonna care. I'm just gonna shoot them and
Yeah,
win.
and like Saw, you
uh,
just got to stay there and fight. Like, whatever, man. See how this goes. The hero that I think got I guess, a nice buff was Petal. Petal is now going to be able to gain 3 minions when she spawns. So at level 1, she is now super strong. And she used to be like, oh, they got a Petal, let's go
well,
invade.
mind you, she can have 3 money. She will spawn with 3 seeds. Does not spawn with 3 minions.
Oh, okay. She gains 3 seeds.
Um,
Okay.
So if you chose to take your seeds, let's say you want a lane and you want your seeds to trade and sustain through your opponent, um, you will not get those level 1 minions. Now there's a downside to this. So this is to fix Jungle Petal's clear speed,
Right.
mainly because you could not clear for crap at level 1 with Petal. So with this change, you now have clearing power. You now can run through the jungle. In fact, I'm pretty sure her clear speed is going to be really, really solid.
Okay. I guess I
Um,
didn't think about that. Yeah, if your minions die, you don't you can't get new ones because you didn't put any seeds down.
so
Okay.
if you go into that level 1 jungle fight and you lose those minions, it's gonna hurt you. It's gonna hurt you a lot. So you got to start weighing these risks. You know, like each one only does 8 damage at level 1 with a 40% crystal ratio.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you could buy a crystal bit, increase their damage by like 8 or 9 per hit, which is solid. But let's say they have any form of AOE, or they're smart about it and they're ranged, and Ringo just goes and shoots them really fast, and you lose your minions. You're gonna hurt your overall game, like
Okay.
until you hit level 2.
Okay. Interesting to think about. So you gotta be smart if you do want to take those minions level 1 to start that clear in the jungle, or maybe for that fight, or still start seeds if you're in lane just to plant your little healing area, your hospital.
Yeah, the hospital bed I called it. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Next character was Fortress. His early game was probably a little too strong at the moment, so this just kind of
Overly
got
overly dominant.
yeah. So we saw a little tweak just to bring him a little bit down, but it doesn't really change too much on him, I feel.
Actually, this is gonna hit a little bit harder than I think people
Oh, you think
realize.
so? Okay.
So, losing the slow, that means you essentially now don't have a slow, because Fortress capitalizes on that early game between like levels 1 through 6, right? You
Yeah.
want to like early invade, you want to pressure them, and that slow allowed you to pretty much your allies to keep up with them. At the same time, it stopped any chance of escaping. They had to stand and fight you. So now by losing that slow, characters are keeping their mobility now, can escape, can keep chasing, or they can move.
Okay.
And by moving, essentially restoring his power at level 8, where he starts to fall off. Um, so essentially, they're taking a large portion of his utility in the early game and giving it back to him only once he becomes less dominant.
Oh,
Like
okay.
at that point where he starts to fall off. I think this is going to hit him a lot harder. I don't know if they intended, but than people think it will. And in
Oh,
addition to that, damage from pets no longer proc it because um, Petal's minions could actually proc
yeah.
lava. Now having a level 1 fortress or level 1
Pedal, and
Petal
yeah.
with her minions,
that would have been dangerous. Okay.
that can get out of hand really, really fast.
Yeah,
I've
for sure.
seen the testing for that. That one was that one did get out of hand.
All right. Well, and then with the stun bug fixes, Catherine's gonna come back into the light, so it might replace Fortress that everyone was kind of like, all right, we'll just go with him and do
I,
that
I
instead.
I think it's gonna be Adagio to be the most dominant actually.
Oh, okay.
Right now,
He didn't even get any changes this
Adagio.
time.
No, but with the changes to the support, Adagio is now the strongest early game support, and this game really capitalizes on the early game. Arden is still far, far too weak in the early game, so um, having him there, he's not gonna cut it unless you can get to the mid late game, which in higher level play they just won't let you.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Yeah.
With
Cool.
Fortress losing a lot of his power, like he doesn't have that slow, which is one of the best CCs that you could want for your team. Adagio still has his slow. So when it comes to CC in the early game, you have Catherine, you have Adagio. Difference is though, Adagio has way, way more damage than Catherine, and two skills that are highly viable, especially with a Ringo or a Vox. You throw that buff
Yeah.
on a Vox, it's gonna do major damage because every single one of those bolts apply that B skill, and now with Voxes being able to dash twice as much, you're gonna see way more damage coming out.
All right. So Adagio might be the one to be practicing and learning for anyone who's paying attention here. All right. Uh, Cruel got a change that I heard a lot of people just kind of upset at that they didn't really need this. I don't play a ton of Cruel, but the change was he no longer slows the attack speed of big jungle bosses, so the big monsters. Is this a big of a deal as people were making it out to seem, or are they just kind of upset that
Um,
Cruel is getting a nerf when Cruel is already not the most picked person anyway?
So, in the situation, mainly the jungle miners, you would be able to apply 8 stacks onto them, and it slowed their attack speed by 80%. And that was just making the miners laughable. You didn't even care about them at that point. Even they had a minion candy on it, you still didn't care. And no other character had this kind of debuff. So this is he's already incredibly tanky as it is. He's got a ton of sustain. You get lifesteal for every single stack that's on it. You can
Hmm.
pop those stacks to heal more. He's got a barrier. Like he really didn't need more damage prevention.
Okay.
Uh, uh, so I think that was their approach on that. You won't really notice it in most of the jungle and most of the time. It's just in situations where you need to fight by the mini miner, or you're taking the mini miner, and he's gonna hit a little bit harder and a little bit faster because you can't put that slow no longer on him.
Okay. And
Spectral
same thing,
is
you
for
won't be
the
able to put it on the Kraken, right? That would be a little harder to solo now.
um the Kraken was affected originally by his debuff.
Oh, it was
Uh,
okay.
so that one you won't really notice much of a difference, but it's mainly for the miners.
Okay.
Uh,
Uh, Next up was Ringo. You mentioned him in the top of the show about Hellfire Brew is just going to do.
so Hellfire Brew originally dealt true damage,
Mhm.
and when Broken Myth was introduced, as well as you had the existence of Eve, you would not heal off of the Hellfire Brew when you threw it out. It dealt
Yeah.
true damage, not crystal damage. Um, so now with this change, it's still dealing true damage. It's still for for the most part, completely the same. The only time it's going to make a difference is in the situation where you have um, an Eve of Harvest or a
Yeah.
Broken Myth.
Okay.
Broken increasing its the DPS by 30% now, so it will deal a lot more damage, which will make give Crystal Ringo a little bit more oomph. Hopefully that gets what he needs. In addition to that, you can throw that Hellfire Brew out on someone of harvest, and you will be healing during the time that they are burning. And
Nice.
because they actually, if a target is burning, they actually deal half damage to the people around them as well.
Okay.
Um, in very very close vicinity, so you can actually heal a little bit extra more than they intend.
S- s- So
I'm
we
not
may
sure how.
see that Crystal Ringo build change a little bit from the Shatter Glass alternating current. We might see a Eve in there now
I
instead.
I would think more of a. I think Broken Myth is still a little bit more applicable.
Okay.
30% increase. That burn is increased by 30% too. That's like a lot of damage increase. And then later on, if they want, they can build that Eve.
Nice. Okay. I know I love playing Crystal Ringo, so I'm gonna continue to test this and do some more of it. The final character that got a little bit of tweak
Yeah,
was
I'm
Kashka.
sure.
She's just not gonna do as much
Uh,
damage when she jumps in there.
yeah. So Kafka's for the longest time has been an overly dominant early game character. She does damage. People build her tanky because her base damage is just so high. This is to take away from uh, um, that tankiness. Like you're like it's 40 levels at 40 damage at all levels. 40 damage is almost nothing in related. But in that early
Yeah.
levels, that 40 damage is significant. You're not gonna be able to jump on a person and take off like a nice huge chunk of their life,
Okay.
and just because you felt like it. It's more of a This is more of a balancing. Koshka right now is one of the top picked characters in the world, and at least in OGN. Um, and she's already a counter to a lot of characters like Petal and such. So this was a needed change, I think. Like
Well,
they needed to
she
decrease her damage. So
she looks so fabulous. That skin, that's really why people are picking her. She just looks great.
oh, oh, I love playing with that skin. The T3 skin. You jump and you have the heart pop
Yeah.
up, you spin, you get the little smiley face
Rainbows.
emote. You're a lit rainbows everywhere. You're a walking like light show. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's great.
I love that skin.
That's all the hero changes. I did hear something that Jules Thunderstrike is now, what, 100% weapon, that wasn't mentioned here, that no longer does any crystal damage. Uh,
Oh, really?
someone was mentioning that. I don't know if that's
I
true. I haven't
I
tested that.
don't know that.
Okay.
I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
The
Uh,
hidden stuff on patch 1.7, I'm sure Broken Myth, Gideon usually does something where he finds some secrets and puts them out there.
yeah, yeah, he's gonna go digging, I'm sure. And then they'll find something, I'm sure. I don't do that part, so I'm not quite sure what was changed. If that is true or not, I can't tell you. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No problem. So we're getting long here, but I wanted to mention one thing about the items. We don't need to run through all these items. You can go through the patch notes, but I want to mention the item stacking. Uh, this has been an issue for a while, just seeing like multiple fountains, and it kind of got changed a little bit with like the amount you were healed. But now the idea is if you're stacking any items, any activatable items, they're all going to go on a cooldown for yourself. And this is a nice change, I think, or a good change to play against.
I like it and don't like it at the same time. Being a support player myself, um, if I see an enemy team that's all crystal, I want to stack those fountains. Or if I see an enemy team that's all weapon, I might want to get that second pauldron.
Yeah.
Um, but now this is going to force my team to allocate possibly a slot to it. which is fun in some situations. You might find characters like can build a fortress in lane, um, be built like being played a little bit more just for the fact that they can build an extra fountain without having too much of an issue.
Yeah.
Um, so right now, but at the same time, I do like it because it stops people from being like, "Why didn't you build more fountains? Why didn't you build more fountains?
Yeah, it's like, oh, they could, but they're not going to
Why didn't you
have
build
an
more
effect.
fountains?" Yeah, it's not gonna do anything exactly. So now it's gonna force support players to think a little bit more like, okay, they have a Rona or they have a Saw. What can I build? I have a Pauldron already. I can build a Warhorn. Maybe I can, think about it and, use my Warhorn right when she starts spinning or right when Saw is spun up and get them out of my team out of range of them as quickly as possible. Um, Forces them to think a little bit more and tactically choose their items a little bit more.
Yeah, hopefully they just don't go and like start like, oh, I got a fountain, now I'll just build the Aegis for myself, or I got the Atlas, I'll just build Metal Jacket for myself. That's probably not the best thought process as the support person. But there's lots of other good stuff in the patch notes. It's super late. You've been streaming on camera for like 10 hours now almost. So I'll let you get out of here. This has been great. Thank you for running down patch 1.7 with me and sharing your fantastic knowledge of all these abilities and all the characters with everyone.
Oh, the honor is mine. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And everyone, make sure you follow Nivmett on Twitter. Always tweeting good stuff. Maybe less active now that he's got the new job, but still,
A
still good
little
stuff
bit.
coming.
It's a lot of work. I mean, it's a job, but at the same time, I love doing it. So it's not that bad at all.
Awesome.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but I am a little bit. I have a little bit less time than before.
That's great. Well, thank you, and thank you everyone for listening. If you have any other questions, definitely send us tweets, messages on the video, or anywhere else. We'll definitely respond and get back to you. So take care. Thanks for listening.
Take care, everyone. Bye.